When I asked the question, what is money? It completely changed my life, like completely changed my path. So I've been interested in personal development and spirituality for a decade. But when I burned out in 2020, when the economy came to a crash, I was just like, I'm not finding the answers I need in the self-help space anymore. Because over there, the focus is more on the law of attraction and abundance and money. But I wondered, if we live in an abundant world, why is there so much scarcity? I wondered, how is it that I equate money to freedom, and yet the more I work for money, the less free I feel? And during a global pandemic, I wondered, how do you cure illness from a system designed to cause illness? But the most powerful question I asked really is, what is money? Somehow it was the linking thread to all of my concerns, but also those of my family, friends, and community. So I spent well over 10,000 hours studying money down to the sand, grounded in natural laws, objective truths, and first principles. I have an interdisciplinary background in economics, law, education, and technology that supported this work. And when I found out what money actually is, I really was astounded. This revelation really completely transformed my reality, and it was like an awakening in a way. So practically speaking, the book clearly explains why money is tied to our free will, and I guide the reader to ask deeper questions. We explore prepping, free open source software, and how to reduce reliance on the system, and what it means to be human. Because once we're freed from the constraints of our current monetary system, we realize that there's a lot more to reality than what our five senses can perceive. So this book is about becoming aware of what's going on in the world at the root cause and having more options. While it's been incredibly helpful for me for the last decade, at this point, I've also been pretty disillusioned by the self-help space. Among wonderful advice, many times I've been scammed, to be honest. And I was told false things like abundance and money creates abundance for all. It's demonstrably false. So the beliefs I internalized held me back until I had the courage to ask why. So I didn't set out to become an author. I actually just felt the urge, like I had to write this book. I wanted to share this information with others who also seek deeper truths, sovereignty, freedom, and self-liberation. And so if you're one of these people, come talk to me later on, and we can talk about a world beyond money. Thank you.
Thank you very much again, Daniela. So now for the second part, we are going to jump into the world of radios. And to help us with radios, we have David over there. So David is the national representative of the Association of Radios from Lisbon. He's very humble, but he's been doing this for more decades than I can count. And there is no radio that he can't really explain or to make work, but most importantly, to explain to others how people can connect with this technology. So, David, please.
Okay, hello everyone here. I hope you will understand my blood alpha English, of course. My name is David, a pretty Portuguese name, of course. David Cantal, and I'm 62 years old. I'm retired from Portuguese Air Force as a rank of Master Sergeant. I work on communications. 83, I joined in the Power and Curious Day of 4th of July. I don't understand why Americans perform such activities on 4th of July, maybe because I joined the Portuguese Air Force, I don't know. So I had the dream to be a radio operator, but at the time I was very humble and very poor, and there was no chance to be an amateur radio operator. So because at the time it was compulsory to be in the Air Force or Army or Navy or so on, okay, let's go. I have to go there, and okay, let's go to join as a volunteer and to do a thing that I want to do, because in the first year I was CB operator, citizen band operator, and I enjoyed a lot and thought, okay, let's join to Air Force in communications. It was first specialty, okay, stop, I don't need to read more. So I joined it, it was very nice. I learned CW in the worst way possible, but I was able to do it. And since then, I'm very happy, time to time. And maybe because of my activity as a marine operator because I did exam in 1986. My job increased in questions of quality because I was able to understand a little bit more than my colleagues. Good profs as well, like me, but some experts they are not able to understand because they didn't have the knowledge or the experience to see how things could happen in communication, especially when they are doing for example for the First World Gulf War. Maybe you remember, it was very stressful at the time because at the time there was not internet. You were able to trust in RF, and time to time a client then didn't communicate with us, and there was, oh, what's happened, what's going on, and so it was very stressful and very demanding at the time. Right now it's a little bit easier, of course, but at the time it was very, 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 very crazy situations, very stressful, of course. And at the time I was able to find out the correct frequency to talk with the clients according to the propagation on RF, HF, because mostly on my activity, I do activities Morse code. I'm a Morse code operator from the beginning, and I still do it at times. But at the time was very nice because I was able to find out the correct frequency to do the spots to talk with the clients, and so it was nice. And I have to say that with my hobby, it helped me a lot in my job, and at the same time, it did or is then doing a job with my personality. I think I'm very liberal guy. I try to be open-minded because of my hobby. Because a hobby is to me is a way of life. You see, if there is a day I'm not doing my CW contact, it's not a day. I have to do a contact. I have to do some contest. I have to do something. I'm doing right now with Brito. It's the way of my life. I married after to be a married operator, so my wife is pretty aware what are her responsibilities. Time to time, say, you are crazy, you just waste a lot of time, but in my time, I'm stay at home all the time, so don't worry. I took some beers, of course, but it's another story. So I'm very happy at amateur operator. But at the same time, I'm very critical about the situation of amateur operator in Portugal. But no one is perfect, of course. So from the CW, I jumped to an activity that was very known in the 19th. It was the packet radio. So someone has heard about packet radio? Yeah, very, very known at the time with the German people over there. Packet radio is not a software, but how I say, a communication based on X25 protocol, but with a A, it means amateur X25. So at the time you used a very small modem, very bacon, maybe you remember. It was a very, very small modem. There was very cheap, made by German people. That's why the normal equipment was very expensive from America. Again, from America. I don't know why. From MFJ, Contronics were the trends at the time, but were very expensive because I didn't have money to buy such equipment. So I started with a small device made bacon. What was the idea? It was a TNC, it means terminal node controller. It was a small device with a modem with a small processor. And Germans had a nice idea. Why to use a small processor when you have computers? Time to time they have very nice ideas. So they did with two ICs, and he was able to operate on VHF, on 1200 baud, and it was very nice. It was our first internet. So we started to develop, based on my knowledge with German colleagues, because I can speak German and I have friends over there, and we built a network named FlexNet. Maybe you have heard about FlexNet. FlexNet was a network based in Germany, with a very, very, very advanced software networking. Amazing. It worked according to the propagation and whatsoever, and so it was, wow, I can say it was nice to see because it was very intelligent software. How to deal with the packets, how to see there is a propagation, lack of propagation to reduce from 7 transmissions in a row to 1 or 2 or 3 according to the propagation and so ever. So it's amazing software and so on. And I started with it. It was nice time. I enjoyed a lot. I got a lot of software. I did a lot of translations into Portuguese from German or from English into Portuguese. Of course, I developed a little bit of my English, my awful English and my awful German, but it was nice. But as happened every time in Portugal, another group appeared, another people had another idea, and you are not right, and the German equipment, a lot of bullshit. So, short story. I return again for CW again. I like a lot to do contests. Normally, I do another kind of activities to walk up to the hills to perform activity with this kind of equipment. It is STR equipment, software developed radio equipment. It is a very nice equipment. It can carry batteries inside, and I can connect an antenna, and with this key I can broadcast. So I can contact America from top of the hill or Asia and so on CW. Yeah, I don't have a microphone, so but I have a CW key. And or if I want to share my position, I can use this device to share my position on APRS. One of my focus of Brito over there. It's not gonna. I can share my and I can talk. I can announce my activity over there and sort of other activities as well. So what I'm telling to you, maybe you have the fancy idea that amateur radio is an old-fashioned hobby. It's not. It is. It causes. It was the main thing that developed us a lot of technology over there. You can talk about cell phones. It started with amateur radio operator with this kind of equipment over there. No one was wondering about what is the kind of doing? Someone had the idea, okay, let's do something for phones. Okay, there is cell phones. There are a lot of activities that amateur radio were very important in technologies. So, and still are. You are still. Maybe not me. I'm only a simple operator. I'm for my phones, nothing else. I'm just a little operator, nothing else. Humble operator. But the hobby is fantastic. I can say this is fantastic. I'm very happy with the hobby. Despite I have a lot of critics to do. I don't follow the normal wave. I'm okay. When I see something that is not right, I say something is not right. But everyone is telling that is right. No, it's not right, it's not right. Or it's right, or it's not right. No in the middle. I don't like to be in the middle. I like to be in one side or in one side. I'm very pragmatic as that. So, and short story, short time. In 2015, I belonged to a club, for a married club from Navy, despite being the Air Force, of course. And they had a problem with the communications. It was not able to have internet from Navy to be used for our communications. And they thought, okay, you have to connect to the packet cluster stations. Packet cluster is to receive information about the accident for other people. I can have to be my radio and do a contact with, for example, from Australia, and to send a spot. And it is transmitted or overall of network or a lot of information. So you have to be connected to the packet radio network. Okay, I have heard about something about Hamnet. What's mean Hamnet? Hamnet, network for AM radio operators, based in 44 IP address. Now it's a little more reduced because of Amazon, but part of these 44 IP addresses, and so let's see what is it. So I talked with a guy from Germany, and he advised me, okay, please talk with the guy from Spain. They are in about same degree of development, and because you are close and they speak Spanish and you are able to speak Spanish and I am able to speak Spanish, maybe you will increase or you'll help you better than us. And So I did so, and my colleague, Echo Alpha 4 Golf Papazulo, Daniel Esteves, was a very nice guy, a lot of patience with me, huge, but he helped our community over here in Portugal. It was amazing. So we started with Hamnet in 1915, 10 years ago. And there were problems, of course, problems with equipment, because there are rain, there are thunderstorms, there maids, it happens every time, in every kind of networks, of course. And what happened? Someone asked me for help some time ago. It was Brito, because he tried to talk with another group. The other group was not so nice as me. I'm not so nice, but okay, I don't know. And so I told him, okay, let's see what can you do. And I talked with another guy because of questions of cosign, because we have to have a cosign. And I told to Brit, okay, you are working over there in Germany, I can do everything here, because I'm not working, I'm retired, I have plenty of time, depend of my wife, of course. And, and so I wrote everything today. It's on the desk over there and over there. And so I'm pretty anxious to be upstairs to assemble all and to see if everything is working properly, nothing else. And I invite all, will be amateur radio operator, sorry, the amateur radio network. So you can see, I can show you, no problem, how to connect and to access to service. Every time you can have a service like APRS, BBS, voice, chat, what you want. That concept belong to all to AM radio activity, nothing else. So it's a very nice network. I enjoyed a lot. And when you have all the information, you have all. It happens everywhere in our parts of the world. We only have all the information. You know, not all. It's not possible because you are not perfect. But at least you can try to learn a little bit more than people that said, no, I don't need to learn more. Okay, let's stay that way. I don't mind, please. And do nothing with it. You can say that, but do nothing. It's better to do something else. So that's why I'm here. I'm sorry I didn't bring nothing to be with me. I could put some YouTube videos on CW, but you'll not understand. But there are a lot of activities in my M radio hobby. Not all time or but I've been in Afghanistan for 6 months. I operated from there. It was a nice experience over there. I was, like you say, I was in another side of the pilot. You don't know? Do you know pilot? Pilot. Station for a very entity. You're not talking countries. You're talking entities. There was a big demanding for do a contact with that station because, for instance, Afghanistan is not an easy country because it was in war, etc. So I had a lot of traffic all the time. When I appear with my Afghan call Tango 6 Alpha Golf on CW, of course, huge crowd, all people trying to do contact with me. I think I did more than 10,000 questions at the time during 6 months and some odd days. So it was a very nice experience. And of course, I knew a little bit of the Afghan society, people over there, very nice people. And a lot of people respect me because of my age. It's mandatory in Muslim religion. So I cannot say nothing about Muslim people. They respect me a lot and still do. And so it was very nice. I've been several times in Czech Republic. I own a call sign from Czech Republic, Oscar Kilowatt Romeo Bravo. I've been in Estonian Island as well, Charlie Uniform 3 Hotel Quebec. And also in Germany, also in England as well. I operated from there. You are from England, I think. Yes, I was so part of England operating, using my this equipment in the two SOTA means Summit on the Air. It's a kind of award made by English, started with the English people. And so you went to 2 summits, and it was very nice because the first summit was full of cows, a smell, a lot of meats, and it was funny because covered by memes a lot, and people, oh, I was, oh, what? And my English colleagues, you have Portuguese blood, I have English blood, so that's why you had problems. But it was very nice all the time, and so when I'm going, I try to carry my radios to have fun and to talk with people and to drink some beers. I like beers a lot. I think it's very so, of course. So, what can I say now? More about hobby? If you have questions, please go ahead. No, you don't have questions. Doesn't admire me. But okay, this year I will. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you played with mesh networks?
I started to play with mesh networks with the software developed by Austrian colleagues. But what can I say? It's interesting protocol, of course, but it's not that what I expected for. But in fact, I started with it. I started to talk. It is nice to talk some German with colleagues, of course, but it's a nice technology, of course. But to me, my mind is more focused in the organized network. That's why I like a lot because there is organization. I don't say that in a mesh code is an organization, but I prefer the way how Hamnet is organized because it remembers a lot the packet radio the time ago. So that's why. But Mescom is a nice software, nice technology, of course. And to me, I don't mind if another guy likes phone or Mescom or LoRa or you have taste for everything related to radio, and you have to respect. I respect everything, everyone, despite they are doing radio, and they are doing radio well, and they have fun, nothing else. But Mescom is a nice. I appreciate it a lot, but I didn't appreciate the organization. I think it's a little bit confused to me, but I'm not perfect. Okay, anyone?
What are the advantages of Hamnet over a LoRa mesh?
You can use LoRa as well. I gave the advice to Brito to use here maybe V8F,
Well,
but it's possible to use LoRa as well.
I'll rephrase it. What is the advantage of not having a non-decentralized network?
Yeah, it's quite curious
nothing more than a computer today, if you think about it. So it's a computer that has a Wi-Fi, it's a computer that has Bluetooth, it's a computer that has a display, it has a battery, it has a nice interface. It keeps your memories, it keeps your files, it keeps you connected to other people. The thing is that here in Portugal now we remember how it feels not to be connected to other people. So when the electricity goes down, internet goes down. And then the things that we have in our pocket, these phones, they become quite useless. I mean, you can have them for sure, but you can't really use them anymore. You can say you can use Wi-Fi, but it's very limited, right? So you can use it in your house maybe, but you can't really share it to others. And we looked for a long time for applications that we could use, because we live in a time that we don't just think about emergency situations, we also think about our own privacy and being able to share with our friends, with our family, with other people around us, our thoughts, our ideas, our things, without really being afraid how they are being seen by someone in the capital or elsewhere and what judgment they might have about us. In this type of platforms, in big part on top of Nostr, because quite honestly, it was a thing that was mostly suited for this. So Nostr is not needing to be connected to the internet. That's the best thing, since you already talked about the public and the private keys. And then we started this platform that you see in front of you as kind of a hybrid between the radio world and the digital world. So David was giving his experience about packet radio, how it was used in the first days. But it also seems that since the 80s and the 90s, it didn't really move that much, at least for the idea that people here in this room could be. So we put ourselves with the challenge. Well, I have to say that first we tried with LoRa and we learned about it and so on. But then eventually we went to Hamnet, we learned about APRS, and then we merged it with the things that we knew. So the type of digital world that we come from. And the result is really in front of you. So this is a web platform that anyone can access today. And it's showing you in live stream all the radio stations that people like David and many others are maintaining since decades. They are doing it on a volunteer basis. They work. But the thing about them is that they already come with a very nicely defined standard set of frequencies and services that we can talk to. And they continue working even if there is no internet, even if there is no electricity. Of course, many of them would go away, but many of them would still stay. And you ask, well, how useful is that? We were talking about Wi-Fi that you can connect in the house. We can talk about Bluetooth that can go over there to the bottom of the street. But these things, when I'm talking, for example, with one of these devices here, it can quickly reach 50, 70 kilometers. David will agree or disagree very quickly because he'll say, line of sight, good antennas. I'm learning my lesson. But in the end of the day, these things can go really far and they are really affordable. So they are not something that is high-tech, they are not really, you need to learn to handle it for sure, but then the frequencies and the range that these things have are really quite unparalleled. This is more or less a medium range device, maybe. The professionals are here, so they would complain, but there are cheaper ones. So there are some other models like this one that will cost 20 euros, for example, on AliExpress. And they are also perfectly valid to some point to send some data, talk to some other people, and simply work. So as you see, there are options for all prices and all ranges. Geogram itself, as you see right now what it's doing, we are focusing on a radius, on this case of 100 kilometers, and we can see the communications going on here. So when we write something on that chat box, it gets sent to the radio stations on the ground and then received by the walkie-talkies there, and from the walkie-talkies back to the phones or to the laptops, to wherever they are connected. I'll get there in a moment how they are connected. But it works on both sides. If I'm on my walkie-talkie on my cell phone, I can also send a message from my cell phone to my walkie-talkie, which gets to the radio station and then goes to the internet, assuming there is an internet. Because this platform is made for the internet. But there are more things that are being done. So, for example, if we are talking just about phone-to-phone communication, we are trying to make a way to make this thing not to be useless the next time they cut down the electricity. Meaning, you install Geogram here, and you can have the basic communication based on Bluetooth, BLE, so contacts people from one side to the other. They don't need pairing, so I don't need to pair to you, you don't need to pair to me. It's automatic. Why? Because you're giving permissions for that, and there is a set of things that it starts doing it when it's within the range that are quite useful. So for example, Here we are in Embaixada, and we want to create, let's call it a server or a node. Let it be a Nostr node. And now you learn that you can do it also with a cell phone. So indeed, I'm going to put my phone over there, patch it against the wall, and then says, this is the Embaixada station that works with Bluetooth, has Geogram installed here. Anyone that has the same app installed, they know that they can come over here, or they are minimally informed about it. There is a database that is offline, can tell you where is the nearest one, and you can go there and start writing your message to someone. Over here, we try to be very complete. So David is helping us. We are going to have a radio station that is quite independent. We want to have it on batteries and on Starlink and on solar panels. It will continue working to an extent. And people can still come over here, send their text messages, and have more or less of a guarantee that it will still be dispatched somewhere else on the planet. Not with the quality of an Instagram, not with the quality of a YouTube for sure, but you can call your loved ones, you can call your friends, you can still do things with text to let them know that you're okay. But it doesn't do just that. So we went a bit beyond, and now what this thing is doing, it can talk directly to other people on the phone to phone, and they can exchange messages on their own. That's the most basic things. You can have a local chat around here, where we are all chatting on the building, how are things doing. But we can now do other things like sending private messages based on Nostr, for example. And we can do the last thing, which is geographical messages. And this is the most interesting part. I think I was mocking with you because I was telling you, oh, you can do it with antennas, you can do it with satellites, but then you can also do it with shoes, which is you ask someone to carry the message for you digitally. So I send a message to you, and you become the carrier that takes the message to the next village or to the next city for other people to then be dumping it on the next embaixada that is available in some other place. And this way, we can have the public part of the message, which is the geography of it. So where do I desire that my message goes? Based on the public key, based on the coordinates, and then hoping that there is some network that will bring the message to that destination. We don't really define how to get there. This is something that people can define on the ground. But we give the way for people to do it without papers and with privacy and for free. And since they can do that, they can also do many other things. So for example, they can set up warnings, they can set up news. So every time that I come over here, I can see what is going on in the Embaixada. Oh, and then I'm starting to see all the news coming, and I can read about what is going on. Think about it like the Nostr or the Twitter from the old age, but without the internet. But you just have to physically go there and start reading what is going on. This gives a second life to your phones if there is no electricity, and makes them useful. So you can, because they will continue to be used. You have your pictures there, you have your personal stuff, they still work, but you still want to share them, you know? You want, for example, we are all here. I hope next year we can have all Geogram installed. It's only going to be available for the phones on March, but I hope that we can all come to an event and start sharing the pictures we have on a global event here, and not having to share it in some server from Facebook or from Twitter or from someone else. But no, it will be saved on the server from Embaixada, which will be a very normal phone sticking over there on the window. And I hope they don't break the window to get the phone afterwards. But it should work. It doesn't just use phones. It can also use other things. This is a very tiny computer based on ESP32. It has an e-paper screen, it has a temperature sensor, it has a memory card, it has, what else can I remember from here? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, lots of processing, and the battery, all for the crazy price of 25 euros. This thing is a full computer with e-paper and temperature sensor and connected to everything you want. This thing can be, for example, the station, and can be the thing that you're reading the messages coming down. But there are other models that I can also show you. So, for example, we have here, this one is a USB pen disk, also with a display. Later you can try it, it's also the material here. Plug it anywhere with a normal power bank, and it's running. This one costs 15 euros. Has a display, has a memory card, has Wi-Fi, has Bluetooth, has a software installed, has a huge storage. I mean, 32 gigabytes of memory here can store tens of millions of text messages. You just plug it over there, and then you have your own Nostr router now working over here to receive and to send messages if you want to. And then, of course, there is something that we are a bit more advanced. So we were talking about the walkie-talkies, and the walkie-talkies, you can think about them as your connection to the other side of the world, right? There is no Wi-Fi, but these things can connect to somewhere, like a local station that is 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers away with some area. But there are some inconvenience about this. I mean, this thing needs to be on, of course, You need to configure it. David knows how fun it is to configure these things, and they always work on the first one, right? On the first try. So you have to do a lot of trial and experiment, and it's not made to be running 24/7, which is kind of a problem, right? So we are also working on this topic, and I hope when we have the next session, we already have something like this, which is basically the chip inside of this walkie-talkie connected to something so small like this, another microcomputer for €7, and together for about 20 can be connected the whole day. Plug it to your USB port, put it on the window, and you can start receiving your data from here. This thing with Bluetooth connects to your phone on Geogram. That's the thing that we are building here. And the last but not the least is that these walkie-talkies, they are much more powerful than what we imagine. I mean, part of it, which was talking to satellites, and that's true. But what many people don't imagine is that the technology in their pockets, these cell phones that we have here today, they are already talking to satellites. I mean, every time that you use Google Maps to navigate to some point, you are receiving data from a satellite, right? You are receiving data that comes really far away, all the way into your car dashboard on the cell phone, and it's working. Look, it's already there, but the mentality needs to change slightly to think that we can also send data up. So it's not just receiving it down. Of course, many restrictions happen, many situations need to be taken care of, but physically it is possible. And you think about it, is it possible just with these more expensive devices? Is it possible with the mid-range devices? Is it possible with the cheaper devices? And the answer, it is possible even with the cheaper devices. We were doing the test, David, and with 1 watt, there was that accessory that we could send APRS up with 1 watt. 1 watt of power. This thing has 5 watts? 10. Who gives more? But anyways, we just need 1, right? This thing is quite powerful. With this, we can talk to satellites up in space. And you say, oh, legally, illegally. Well, it's a matter of, first of all, applying to have a radio license to some point so you can send data. And then, second of all, there is something that most people don't realize is that you don't need a radio license in most countries to receive information, receive messages. So you can today, even without a radio license, start getting the messages from a satellite. And you say, oh, which satellite can I use? Well, APRS, like David can tell you, it's a very old protocol from the 80s. The implementation is quite big. Many satellites implemented repeaters for APRS. I was telling already our friends here in the front about ISS, and ISS is a satellite, the International Space Station, that is flying every 90 minutes above our heads. And at every 90 minutes, this thing has a APRS repeater. And at this moment, when the thing is coming, the radio start making the buzzing of all the digital messages falling. And when they don't talk, it's the time that you can actually send one of your SMSs up for free. So no subscriptions, no exotic hardware, no crazy things. You can do it today. Of course, today is a bit manual. We are working to automate it, but you can do it. And it works. So there is not so many people in Europe using this system. So when I'm testing, I can show it to you afterwards if you want to see it. It's always about the same 3 to 4 stations that are sending and receiving some messages. But just for your information, every time that I send it to a satellite up there in space, it has a reach of 1,700 kilometers of radius. So imagine that thing over here, but times 17. So basically I can talk from Portugal to Germany with coverage for free, which is much more than what I need, of course. And it's not the only satellite that does it. So here we are giving you several ways of contacting for the future. Using a normal phone, using the normal phone you can use Bluetooth, you can use radio, you can use the internet, and you can even use your shoes. It doesn't really matter, but the thing gets reused again. And that's basically what we are building here. Like I said, it's available for some people here for testing. So if you have interested in testing, come to me. It's still a bit rough on the edges, but it's working. In March, we should have the general availability. It is free, as in completely free. Open data is free. The hardware is not free. Of course, you need to pay for the hardware, but it's like 20 euros or 30 euros. It's affordable. And we also teach you how to assemble it yourself, or you can buy it here from the Embaixada for a symbolical price, or the GNPA, before I forget. Don't forget you get a discount on GNPA for all the selected articles. And for all of these things, it is available. So Just stay in contact. Geogram.radio. And that's it, my friends.
So how would you connect your Geogram device to me in Avelar, for example?
Where?
In Avelar.
Where is that?
Avelar.
Aval. Okay, so it's close by. I wouldn't use a satellite for that, so you're too close. We would use a radio station. So if you see, oh, it's disconnected. Okay, so I'll just put it on. But basically, what happens is that I would just use the normal radio stations already here, so I wouldn't really go so far away.
What kind of radio stations? Are there already repeaters that are?
Yes. There are many repeaters around here.
What is the protocol you're using?
On this case, they are using APRS.
Okay.
So
Do you need an amateur license to use it?
to send it, not to use it. So the big difference is here, David can also help you with the license, how to acquire the license. And he will say, don't get the license in Portugal, get the license in Spain.
I'm already amateur, so I already have the license.
It's easy for him.
The trouble is the hills.
We'll call it very many, so there is no problem. Very many.
I'm chit-chatting a lot with David on this topic because I decided to put the radio station here, which is like a valley. So what we do is really jumping from one side to the other. So we connect from here to the other side of the river, to the astronomical observatory. Yes.
They have APRS.
You can probably see it if you navigate it. So if you go here a bit more, is it there? We only have 2 stations. So it's not showing right now, so it's not online. But we have one over there, so we in Conchada, I think, and so on. But typically, anywhere that gets your signal will then be retransmitting it. There is one thing about APRS, you can define the path. So Penella is very close. It's 30 kilometers, maybe, in straight line, so it's not so much. But if I wanted to go to Serra da Estrela and so on, I can define the path for the radio stations all the way to Serra da Estrela, so it jumps from one to the other.
But also, we see Hamnet as well.
So what is wrong with, because I have a LoRa network in my area, it's approximately 8 people. Why did you stop using it?
I set up a LoRa from here to Lausanne, maybe that was the thing. And first of all, it was an exotic hardware to begin with. I had a lot of fun being the only person using LoRa around here in the region. So I would send a message and then I would run to the other side to collect it because nobody else would be using it. You know this, Alexander, it's boring. And then the material that we were using was really cheap as well. So it wouldn't last 1 year. The sun, the wind would break down the material itself. And people can say, oh, you're very cheap steak. You never really built stuff with a good hardware. True, but just normal. And then LoRa has this defect. So if there is fog, it doesn't work so well. If there is sun, it doesn't work so well. If there is night, it doesn't work so well. If there is rain, it doesn't. No, but more seriously, when we had now the off-grid parts, you could see that it got jammed. So everyone was on the same frequency in Lisbon, and it really messages. In radio, we can get away from that. So much bigger bandwidth, we can change the frequencies, so we can run away from that at least.
Okay. The only drawback is you can not use it as a non-amateur.
Yeah.
And I have my LoRa one on a different frequency.
Okay, which one?
Because I don't want to have all the people
Crowded.
in Lisbon.
But you understand me, so people are changing it.
I use long motors, which everybody else uses.
What we were discussing a while ago is to have a new protocol, slightly one, where unlicensed people and licensed people can live together. So they can use LoRa, for example, to do a request for something, and then they can receive in radio their requests if it's a file. So LoRa, just for information, it's a network that is limited to text data, very short messages. But what we want here with radio is to go and share files, images, sound, and all these things. Not full stream, but a bit more, at least. Does that?
Then it's more like a broadcasting service to the non-radio amateur people.
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, there are limitations to this, of course. It is what it is. Can't have everything without the subscription.
That means also a lot of practice radio. develop the software. And I did it, the high already quite fast, but the speed is not really high, so that's why. But it could be possible to packet rate with our.
I agree with you that making the case waterproof is really difficult. So I'm not making them myself anymore.
Oh, okay,
I just
okay.
advise people to use the Studio Solar 3.1. So the finished product, and it's almost the same price.
Yeah.
Making it yourself, so.
But this is one of the things we also stopped thinking about full coverage all the time. And this is why we say coverage by shoes. Because then if the LoRa is down or if the radio is down, and then we can still carry the messages physically to another location with us and say, oh, if you have nothing
I
else.
think that's a good thing about this system. Because with LoRa, if you're not online, the message is lost. With Mesh Core, you can of course make a or that.
Oh, good. Okay, I thought I was saying something wrong, so. Thank you very much. Okay, any other questions that I can help? I mean, we can also talk during the grill, by the way, so, and all the other things. Please.
Is there a way to organize a workshop where the network is built, maybe with licensed and non-licensed, in a way to create something where the community or group could communicate?
I think it's possible. First, I have to make the vid talk with Patinga, because they are on both sides of the world. So they are very much unlicensed, is very much licensed.
I will go to be like.
I don't know if you can, but you can try.
I can try.
But if they got together, I would hope so. In March, I can join into the other groups, and most of this communication is also going on, but we are going on that direction. So we want to find first steps into it. Those who are more interested, they will go into the license, yes, but those who really don't have the chance, they can still use it to some extent. Anything else, my friends? So if not, I'll just do a small break with you guys. Let's have some more drinks and something else to eat. And then we are going to have Patinga here showing us the last part of the event.
If you want to be licensed, it needs to pay something.
You have there the right person to talk about it? You say, go to Spain.
How much? Why you say go to Spain?
It's awful in Portugal. I took mine in the US. So, you do not take the license in Portugal.
And all the formulas and all the.
But this is a nice discussion over some Superboc.